morning to one and all. This is the day 5 of 1 week online short-term training program on teaching learning pedagogies approved and funded by AICTE Quality Improvement Scheme, New Delhi, and organized by A.G. Patil Polytechnic Institute, Solapur, Maharashtra. On behalf of our institute, I, Snehal Gavali, lecturer in Humanity and Science Department, would like to welcome today's speaker, Dr. Vishwajit Poddar, Vice Principal, A.G. Patil Institute of Technology, Solapur, Campus Director and Principal of our institute, Dr. M.A. Chaudhary, Vice Principal of our institute, Mr. J.M. Jakedia, Coordinator of STTP, Mr. S.K. Mohite, Head of Departments, my colleagues, and dear participants. Today's session is on modern pedagogical techniques, and we are fortunate to have Dr. Vishwajit Poddar sir among us to deliver this session. So here is a brief profile of Dr. Vishwajit Poddar sir. He is an eminent professor of mechanical engineering with 35 years of rich experience in teaching, research and consultancy in the areas of automobile, marine and aerospace engineering. He is holding exemplary academic achievements like university ranks, best research paper awards and gold medalist of NPTEL course on soft skills. He has done a PhD research work related to indoor air quality improvement using experimental and numerical techniques. He has published more than 50 research papers in reputed international journals and conferences. He is a consistent Best Teacher Award winner and conducted many faculty development programs in the field of entrepreneurship, human values, personality development, employability, effective communication, modern pedagogy, and in the emerging technical areas. He is a chartered engineer recognized by Institution of Engineers and is a senior member of professional organizations like IEI, IST, ISME, CSI, and many more. He is also associated with many social activities and activities including Art of Living Foundation. He is presently working as a Vice Principal at A.G. Patil Institute of Technology, Solapur, Maharashtra. So, such a great personality is available for us to conduct this today's session. Once again, I welcome you, sir, and I request you to initiate the today's session on modern pedagogical techniques. Before initiating this session, I would like to remind that these STTP sessions are live on Zoom app and our institute's Facebook page. Thank you. Over to you, Poddar sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your wonderful introduction. Good morning, all the participants. At the outset, let me welcome you all for this STTP on teaching learning pedagogies organized by A.G. Patil Polytechnic Institute in collaboration with AQIS, that is the AICTE Quality Improvement Scheme. I would like to thank, first of all, AICTE for promotion of such FODPs. If I remember correctly, for last 35 years, I have been observing and I have been attending various faculty development programs. Very few faculty development programs are available or were available for these pedagogical trainings, so to say. So I would like to thank AICTE for initiating such faculty development programs for teacher development. It's a requirement of the hour because of the changing environments. Every teacher need to upgrade his skills, not only technical skills, but also his teaching skills, his communication skills. So it's a welcome step. I would like to thank A.G. Patil Polytechnic Institute also for arranging such a STTP and giving me an opportunity to interact with you all through this platform. Let us start the presentation. The topic, as you know, is modern pedagogical techniques. As introduced by Madam, I'm Dr. Vishwajit Poddar, I'm working as Vice Principal at A.G. Patil Institute of Technology, Sholapur. First of all, let us have an overview of today's presentation, what all we are going to discuss today. First of all, we'll start with observing what are the challenges of 21st century education. Thereafter, we'll identify what is the need for modern pedagogical techniques. Then we'll try to understand what are few modern pedagogical techniques, like what are active learning based techniques, what are technical content knowledge based techniques, what are technical pedagogy knowledge based techniques, then pedagogical content knowledge based techniques, and then technological pedagogical content knowledge based techniques, and finally we'll see some of the implementation issues of modern pedagogical techniques. Before I begin, let me remind you that this is a bit, though interesting, we have to focus a bit on these new pedagogical techniques. You have to involve yourself for understanding these techniques. Starting with challenges of 21st century technical education friends, education friends. As we can see, the quality of school education has changed. The quality of formal college education has changed. The society principles have changed. The ICT tools have changed. There are morality changes. So there are so many changes happening all over. So education is no exception for that. Now, there are so many challenges faced by the teachers, so to say, or the students even, in coping up with the present day requirements of education. So out of all these challenges, in my opinion, the biggest challenge from the teacher's point of view is whatever the teachers are trying to teach, whether the students learn. A small cartoon I have, this is an old cartoon. There are three persons, as you can say. Snoopy was a very famous cartoon character. The two friends are asking, I have taught Snoopy the dog to whistle. But the second friend says, I can't hear him whistle. So he has taught Snoopy how to whistle. Then he says, I can't hear him whistle. So the first person says, I said I had taught him, not that he had learned. So this is a basic gap. We as teachers know how to teach, but we hardly get time to verify whether the students learn. So this gap we need to identify. And though this is a very debatable question, who is at fault, whether the students are at fault, whether teachers are at fault, or whether the system is at fault, or the curriculum, whether it is at fault, there are so many facets to this challenge. The reasons for why there is gap between the teaching and learning process. Let us try to systematically find out why there is a gap. Now, a few of the reasons, friends, if you can see, there are few teacher-related reasons for this gap between what is taught and what is learned. The first one is communication gap. Now, what I mean here is whatever communication language we use, like the accent, the phonetics, the speed of delivery. The students are sometimes not able to cope up with these phonetic changes because a South Indian has a different accent, and a Maharashtrian teacher has different accent, a Kannadiga will have different accent, a Punjabi will have different accent, speed. It always has the mother tongue influence and the local society influence as such. So even though we are communicating in English, that influence always is there, and that becomes a barrier in delivering the content to the students. So this is one probable reason I find why there is gap between what is taught and what is learned. Sometimes the teachers, they don't put in the appropriate efforts in preparation of the lecture. So that's what happens is there is lack of conceptual clarity amongst the teachers. And what happens then is, if the teacher himself or herself doesn't have the conceptual clarity, they're not able to have a connect between with the students. And because of that, whatever the teacher is trying to teach is not properly received by the students because of lack of conceptual clarity. Now, this next reason also is related to conceptual clarity only. Unless and until, as a teacher, I don't have conceptual clarity, unless and until I have understood the concept very nicely and clearly, I will not be able to simplify that. I will not be able to make it palatable for the students. So this leads to lack of simplification skills on the part of teachers. Now, unless and until a complicated concept is clarified, simplified, it doesn't become digestible to the students. And the next reason could be the lack of student engagement skills. Now, this is a big problem, so to say, because the students, today's students have lack of focus. But as a teacher, because once we get into a class and to keep the students engaged for 1 hour, it's a big challenge for the teachers. So we need to have, or many teachers lack that engagement skills, maybe cracking some joke, not always, but making your presentation or your content so interesting that students feel like listening to you. So if this engagement skill is not there, what happens is there is lack of connect, and there is lack of transfer of knowledge between the teacher and the student. So these are probably some of the reasons which are related to the teachers. There are certain reasons which are related to students as well. Today's students, as we can see, or the present generation students, most of the teachers would agree with me. They have lack of motivation for learning. What could be the reason? Maybe because of the recession, maybe because of competition, maybe because of lack of appropriateness in the content. And what happens ultimately is that even if I study, what I'm going to do, I'll not be having a job in my hand. I'll be unemployed. So this sort of negative attitude is built before the students come for learning, before the students join the course, join the program. And because of they don't see any future, so to say, which is not the fact, but they conclude and they come to the conclusion. And before attending the class itself, they feel that this will not be useful to me. So there is lack of motivation amongst the students. So this could be one of the reasons for gap between teaching and learning. The second important reason, which is related to students, friends, is lack of goal setting. If I remember correctly, when we used to learn long back, I'm not going to a long history part of it, we had set goals while entering into engineering. I want to be maybe executive engineer through MPSC exam or some government organization. I would like to be an executive at maybe Tata Motors. So some sort of goals should be there among the students. But today, because of maybe less available employments, or because of a lack of employability skills amongst the students, they tend to have no goals at all. So they don't have short-term goals. They don't have long-term goals. They don't have those objectives in front of them. And what happens ultimately is that they just come to the class for the sake of attending the classes. And what results is there is no attentiveness, there is no seriousness among the students. And ultimately, this leads to lack of transfer of knowledge. Third important reason which I see is lack of role models. In fact, this is not the case, but we as teachers probably we need to tell them, set in front of them the role models, because unless and until they have some role models after completion of engineering, maybe I would like to be an exemplary engineer or a successful engineer like Mr. So-and-so. So we need to tell them about the achievements these engineers have acquired through their education, because of maybe impact of media, whatever could be the reason. Most of the cases, the film stars are the role models. Nothing wrong in it. Only bright spot in today's generation, as far as role models are concerned, friends, is most of the students are becoming fitness conscious. Okay, maybe Salman Khan, Amir Khan, Akshay Kumar, whoever are the, so to say, role models. At least fitness wise, they are focusing, they're going to gym and maintaining good health. Okay, that is a better part of it. But as far as their career is concerned, there is lack of role models in front of them. So we as teachers need to tell them about the achievements done by today's era engineers, so that they will have those ideals in front of them, and they will be serious in the class, and there'll be proper knowledge transfer. The last reason I see is there are more distractions. In our days when we were teaching, or maybe 10 years down the line earlier, distractions were less. We used to have only one television channel, Doordarshan we used to have. Now you've got hundreds of channels available. You have got mobiles, you have got social media connections, and so many distractions the students have. The good part of it is that if they use those gadgets appropriately, they have knowledge at the press of button anywhere, anytime. But if it is not used appropriately, they get distracted very fast. It doesn't take any time to get into a dirty movie, so to say, or a video, or a whatever content which is not appropriate for the students. So this leads to a lack of attention in the class. And that's what you must have observed, friends. When I go to class, I take 5 to 10 minutes to bring their attention into the class. So this is what happens, that they have lost that resourcefulness of amongst within them, that they should be made aware that if you learn these things, you can have a bright future. So these distractions cause a barrier between the communication or the transfer of knowledge between the teachers and the students, friends. So these are a few of the reasons I have identified. This leads us, this lack of transfer of knowledge between students and teachers and students leads us to the concept of pedagogy. Now, pedagogy is not a new concept, friends. Pedagogy, though it is used in child education right from years, andragogy is the most appropriate word for college education or higher education. Pedagogy has been or is being used for children education, but those concepts are now being applied to all the higher education institutes also. Now, there is a need for training the teachers with these pedagogical techniques. So what is this pedagogy? We know, or the teaching, as a teacher, we know what to teach. Now, what pedagogy tells us how to teach. Now, particularly this becomes relevant in case of professional education, friends, because I remember and I know in B.Ed, D.Ed education, there is appropriate classroom assignments. They are not only taught with the concepts of education, but they are also taught with the techniques of teaching. But unfortunately, if you're talking about engineering in particular, once we do graduation, post-graduation, maybe BTech, MTech, we interview them and we come into teaching. But we are not taught about how to teach, because teaching in itself is an art. Though it is an art, there is a specific science also behind that. So pedagogy is the science and art of teaching. It is a method and practice of teaching. So it is related with interaction between teachers, students, and learning environment for achieving learning task or goal. So whatever we feel as teachers that teaching is a one-way exercise. No, I go into the class, just deliver for 1 hour, whatever I know, whatever information I have, whatever knowledge I have, I dump it and I come out of the class. This is not pedagogy. Pedagogy means treating teaching or teachers, students, and the learning environment, maybe whatever medium we are using, the blackboard, maybe videos, whatever the gadgets we are using. We have to make use of all these gadgets. We have to think these things as a system. So pedagogy tells us about interaction between teachers, students, and learning environment for achieving learning task or goal. As I said, andragogy is the most appropriate word for understanding how to teach for higher education institutes. And whatever lack of or the gap between teaching and learning, friends, there is a wonderful movie, if you have seen, Three Idiots, nicely depicted this gap between teaching and learning. It's worth seeing that movie. Those who have seen it, fine, but those who haven't seen it must see this movie, which will make, which will identify the gap, and that the lead character helps the teachers in how effectively we can teach the students. Okay. So once we have seen what is pedagogy, what is the significance of pedagogy? Pedagogy improves the quality of teaching. Pedagogy helps teachers to achieve deeper learning by their students. Now, earlier, what is the difference between conventional learning and deeper learning? Earlier, without making use of pedagogical techniques, what we used to do, whatever content the teacher had, maybe from exam point of view, maybe from syllabus point of view, whatever points we are going to cover, that much only is transferred or used to get transferred with the students. But if you understand the pedagogical concepts well, and if you start implementing these pedagogical techniques, we create a conducive teaching learning environment, and students can get into deeper learning, and deeper learning broadens their knowledge horizon. Deeper learning helps the students to think independently, and that education becomes relevant for this 21st century education. So these pedagogical techniques helps the teachers to achieve deeper learning by the students. It helps the teachers to develop and utilize suitable strategies as per student needs, student interests, and student backgrounds. Friends, we hardly bothered about what are the student needs, what are the student interests, and what are the student backgrounds. Pedagogy teaches us or tells us or guides us in how to spend some time with the students, identify the characteristics of students, identify their interest areas, identify their maybe curricular backgrounds, their family backgrounds, and then accordingly develop your teaching strategies so that your teaching learning process becomes effective. So this way pedagogy becomes significant. And finally, it is a vital part of teachers' success in the classroom in education, educating students. This is very important aspect, friends. Once you complete your class, you should have that feeling of fulfillment. And ultimately, as the knowledge transfer is there, as you are connected with the students, and when the students start responding in a positive way, that is a marvelous experience as a teacher. So the teacher's experience, to teacher's success is enhanced or improved if we use pedagogical techniques, friends. let us move further, friends. Uh, Even if we say pedagogical techniques are needed, even pedagogical techniques have many challenges in this 21st century education. As discussed earlier, in a classroom environment, let us be a bit attentive. In a classroom environment, in a typical classroom, we have three elements. We have students, we have teacher, and the contents which are there with us. Okay, so students, teacher, and maybe the blackboard and the notes that I have. So these are interacting elements. So each element, teachers have certain challenges to be faced, students have certain challenges to be faced, and related to content also, we have the challenges, how the content should be up to date. So those we shall see one by one. What are the pedagogical challenges of 21st century education? First, what are the challenges on student front, friends? So student engagement is the biggest challenge, as we discussed earlier. So we need to make our lectures so interesting and engaging that students feel like attending your classes. The students should not bunk your classes. Students should not miss your classes. So we need to develop such a strategy or such a teaching learning environment where the student feels like attending your lectures. We need to provide them appropriate role models. We need to set in front of them certain goals so that students are motivated to pursue their career. They should feel like attending your lectures, they should feel like scoring good marks, they should feel like developing certain practical aspects. So that motivational challenge is also there. And as far as learning styles are concerned, you must have had a detailed lecture on a detailed session on learning styles details earlier. So there are certain students who follow or who like maybe audio type of learners. They feel happy when they just listen to your class. So audio type of learners, there are certain class of students who like something to be written on the board, something to be shown on the board, something to be shown maybe as a PPT. So those are visual learners. So the learning styles of the students differ. So this is also one of the challenges for the teachers, the identifying the learning styles of the students. Some of the students like activities instead of, they can't focus to your audio signals. They can't focus on to your video signals even. They would like to have a participative environment. So that is called as kinesthetic learning style. So we need to, this is also one more challenge we teachers have, and identifying the learning styles of the students and then designing appropriate approaches. Then identifying student diversity. Now, the student diversity means who are the slow learners. So once we get into the class or in the initial classes, we need to identify amongst the class of 60 or 40, whatever the strength of the class, maybe through quizzes or some tests, or maybe through their background performance indices, we should be able to find out who is a good performer, who is a slow learner, who is a fast learner, who is an extraordinary learner. So we need to identify that student diversity. And while planning your lecture, we need to think of the needs of all these diverse categories. You cannot be catering to the needs of only fast learners. We should cater to the needs of slow learners as well. So these are the challenges on the student front. Let us see the content related challenges, friends. So earlier, we remember in our era of earlier teaching learning process, I remember many teachers having notes which are turned yellow. That means very old notes. Years together, they used to have the same notes. Now, in today's generation, in today's era, friends, we need to upgrade every day, every year. We need to upgrade our content. Whatever notes we are preparing, whatever learning resources we have, those need to be up to date, and those need to be interesting also. We need to include some present generation applications in your content, the present generation examples we need to include in our content, the present generation case studies we need to include in our content. So that content preparation is also a big challenge as far as teaching learning process is concerned. And your notes and your learning resources have to be up to date, friends. As we discussed about these ICT tools and many gadgets, if you are talking only about information, many of the students, because of this technology growth, as I said, everything is available at the press of button. If we have if we don't have our notes up to date, the students will not find it interesting. So they'll go in for the online lecture content, they'll go in for online resources. So we as teachers, we also need to be up to date. Whatever are the best possible resources in the form of notes, PPTs, maybe animations, whatever is available through my ICT tools, we need to have all those things with us, and we should make our content enriched with all these information and all these resources. Then only, if you're going to give them something above that is available on the net, then only students will find it very interesting. The students will feel like attending your classes. Or your content should be more application oriented, which is not available in any of the books. Okay, through your experience, you have developed certain applications, and those day-to-day applications, if you are able to give it to the students, they will feel like attending your class, and they will feel like learning new techniques. And finally, as far as content related challenges are concerned, friends, your content has to be interactive. In a sense, one can ask me a question, how the content can be interactive. What I mean is, whenever you are providing a content, make it provide certain reflection spots in between. Don't be monotonous in delivery of your content. Put certain quizzes while giving that content, so that it becomes interactive, and the students feel like the students develop interest in this teaching learning exercise. So as far as content is concerned, it should be appropriate, it should be rich with whatever applications are relevant, whatever day-to-day examples are relevant, those should be there in your content. So these are the content related challenges. And then the teacher related challenges, pedagogical challenges are, the first thing the teacher needs to, the first change that he has to bring about is student-centric teaching. The teachers have to learn now. Now, what is this student-centric teaching? Up till now, we used to have teacher-centric teaching. So whatever I give, you have to take. This was the concept. I'm saying that this is an age-old concept that was there. Now in this 21st century education, this is the biggest pedagogical challenge. This is maybe the change of the environment, you can say. I remember, friends, I would like to give an equivalent example from the industry. There are two types of market. Okay, a seller's market and buyer's market. 15 years back, maybe 15-20 years back, it took me 1 year's waiting time to get my first Maruti 800, maybe 20 years back. Maruti 800, I waited for 1 year to get my Maruti 800 car. I remember prior to that, even to get my Bajaj scooter, people used to wait for 2 years. So that kind of market, maybe 15 years, 20 years back, the market was the seller's market. So whatever the company the companies used to dictate the selling terms, whatever prices, whatever delivery date they used to have. So that was the seller's market. If you come closer to today's era, it has become a buyer's market now. We have got variety of vehicles, variety of consumer goods available. The choice is tremendous, and there is literally no waiting time as such. You just change the dealership, you change the showroom. You have the another dealer providing you so many quality goods at cheaper prices and immediate delivery. So today's market is a buyer's market. Now, why I'm giving you this example? So over a period of time, as there is a shift from seller's market to buyer's market, because of globalization, because of technological changes, there is impact on society as well. Earlier, I remember we never bothered about whether it is teacher centric or student centric. The students used to be resourceful. We never spent time in bringing their attention into the class. They used to be so focused about their career. So that was relevant maybe 10 years back. Now, the things have changed. As other things have changed, the market has changed from seller's market to buyer's market. The teaching learning process also has metamorphosed, has changed. We as teachers, we don't have that liberty of having teacher-centric learning. Now, those who are working in private institutes, you must have experienced that. The managements want good results. The managements want the student should be happy. Most of the teachers would agree with the present situation in this educational institute. They treat the students as customers. So customer satisfaction is what is the need of the hour, people say. So let us look at the positive aspects. What I mean is, the call of the hour, the need of the hour is the teachers with old teaching concepts need to change, and they have to make their teaching as student-centric teaching. The student should be happy, the student should be learning, the student should be developing certain abilities. So this paradigm shift has to be made by the teachers. So this is the biggest challenge, friends, in front of the teachers. Now, along with knowledge, we as teachers have to impart them certain skills, and we need to develop attitude, positive attitude towards life also. So this has become additional duty of the teachers, not just delivering knowledge, imparting, providing them skills, and developing, bringing about attitudinal changes. So this is also one of the challenges in front of the teachers. Then we have to make the students lifelong learners. So what we need to do is that we as teachers, we should keep on learning every day till we retire. So we keep on learning. So lifelong learners we need to become, and thereafter we make the students lifelong learners. So this is also one more challenge in front of the teachers. Now, as far as assessment and evaluation is concerned, this is also a biggest challenge, though many things are not in our hands. Only for autonomous institutes, they have this liberty of changing the assessment and evaluation methods. Most of the colleges have the rote evaluation schemes, like memory-based questions we asked. Once they mug up the things, the type of questions those are asked are based on memory alone. So we need to bring about that change wherever possible. So this is also biggest challenge in front of the teachers, to bring about change in assessment and evaluation also wherever possible, so that this teaching learning process will be effective. Moving further, friends, apart from the challenges, as many of us are working in private institutes, even in government organizations, the students are learning for employment, for better employment. So we as teachers need to build certain employability skills amongst the students also. This is also one of the challenges in front of all of us. So what are the expectations of employers in the 21st century, friends? Which we never bothered earlier. We used to give content, the students pass your exam, score good marks, and have your certificates, that's all. But as a teacher, we need to focus on the employability aspect of students as well. So the employers expect the students to be ready-made engineers or whatever professionals they have. Earlier, I remember in our era, once we graduate, we used to have, first of all, on-the-job training, so to say, maybe 6 months to 1 year, in some cases 2 years on-the-job training used to be there. And there we used to learn what are the requirements in that particular industry. But today, the industry people want ready engineers. So there is a course by Tata Motors, industry ready engineers. While they are going through their curriculum, they are made ready for joining the industry. So today's employers want ready-made engineers, and today's employers want that all these abilities, those are enlisted here, should be provided by the educational institutes, should be provided by the teachers. So they want their students or their recruits to be having team working and leadership qualities or abilities. They expect the students to have interpersonal skills. So they should be able to negotiate with the parties. They should be having persuasion skills. They should have good decision-making skills. They should be able to handle conflict when they are working in an organization. They should know how to share and care. So these are the interpersonal skills the students need to have. And this burden once again comes on to the teacher in building up these skills. So in our curriculum, we need to include these training exercises, and as and when possible, every teacher, no matter what subject he's teaching, he needs to spend some time on developing some of these skills. The employers want the students to have good communication skills, maybe oral communication skills, written communication skills. They want the students to have critical thinking abilities. And they also want the students to have creativity. This is what the employers want. And these become the additional challenges in our teaching and learning process, friends. And if you look back, because there is lack of employability skills among the students, particularly in case of professional education, the NASSCOM result or research says that most of the, more than 80% of the engineers or professional graduates are not employable. This is a serious concern because they lack these skills, and the employers want the students, apart from technical knowledge, problem solving abilities, they should have these additional skills also. And as the students don't have these skills, they don't become employable because they don't meet the requirements of the employers. So this is the additional challenge in front of the teachers to make the students employable. So whatever challenges we have seen, friends, what it leads to transforming our teaching learning process by using modern pedagogical techniques. To meet the challenges, we have to transform our teaching learning process by using modern pedagogical techniques. So at this point, I would like to show you a small video clip which I've downloaded from YouTube, which you'll find interesting. And thereafter, we'll resume with our modern pedagogical techniques. I'll stop sharing my screen now, and I'll go to a video. Hopefully, it is visible to you. Hello.
Yes, sir. You can start.
Can
you
I,
share the
is it
screen.
visible or the video that I'm showing, sir?
No, it is not
Yeah.
visible, sir. You have stopped this screen
How
sharing.
should I share? Please guide me this. Okay.
Sir, please click on the, yes, now you are sharing the screen. Select an option of entire screen instead of
Where it
presentation.
is? Entire
Right,
screen. Achha.
right now you are selecting an option of a PPT presentation. In screen,
Yeah.
there is an
Shall I
option.
stop this?
Yeah, please stop this.
And share
Now,
screen.
share screen. There you will get an option of just a screen, entire
Screen.
screen. Please
That
click
I need
on
to click, is it?
Yeah, that you need to click instead of presentation. And now you can start the video.
Wait.
Yeah, we can see the Facebook. So you can start the video and pop up that on the front.
Okay, I'll redo it. Now, just share with me whether it is visible. Yeah, please.
No, yet not. It is not visible, man.
Not yet visible?
No. The screen sharing is stopped, sir.
Shall I share screen once again?
Yes, please share the
Entire screen.
entire screen.
Now the film is there. Shall I select that video now?
You can.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yet not. Yes.
Okay.
Now you can play one more time. There is a delay of 4 seconds, 8 seconds. So you can start one more time.
Yeah, just check. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Just
you.
confirm whether it is.
Yes, sir. The video and the audio is clear. No problem.
Okay. It will take another.
Request you to start it from start.
Shall I start it once again?
Yes, sir. Because
Okay.
we couldn't able to see.
Acha, okay. I'll start it from beginning. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Shall I close my screen?
You can minimize it.
Okay. I can minimize it. Okay. Is it visible? Just check.
So there is a network bandwidth issue from your end.
No.
You can see a yellow color range.
But is the video visible?
Right now it is stopped for all of us. Please don't minimize it. Whatever exactly. If you minimize the video, we can't.
Okay, I'll keep it as it is.
Yeah, please. Yes, sir. It is visible now. Thank you. Sir, if the video is over, I think, yeah. You can continue, sir. We can see a very low bandwidth from your end.
Yeah. Okay.
Dr. Poddar, sir, we are observing a low bandwidth. So the video is getting staggered. So as your screen. Yes, sir, the video, the presentation is live now. You can proceed. So because of low bandwidth, we couldn't able to hear you properly. Hello, am I audible to you, sir? Your voice is breaking, sir, unfortunately. We can observe from our end that you are facing with very low bandwidth. Could you please check with your Wi-Fi?
Hello friends, welcome back to this video which provides us identify various challenges of 21st century education and it provides certain solutions, also very interesting solutions. This video is a bit over, but it is
I'm very sorry to interrupt you. Poddar, sir.
Solutions as well as
Poddar, sir, very sorry to interrupt you. Your voice is not audible, sir.
Professional skills. We develop social connections from the students' parts as well. Let's move further. The need before getting into the proper modern pedagogical techniques. Let's see what is the need of modern pedagogical techniques. Okay. Yes, we already seen the first teacher is confused teacher. He has to meet many challenges. It's time whether he should go for active learning, student-centric learning, he has to look for student learning styles, he has to look for student diversity.
Poddar, sir, if you could listen. We request you to stop your video. We are working. We are getting a very low bandwidth. Poddar, sir, if you could hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, your voice is not at all clear, sir.
What should I do?
Jumbled voice. So as the PPT is also getting staggered. You can observe in the chat box also. Audibility is very low because of the bandwidth.
Okay, so let us coming back to the need of modern pedagogical techniques. We need to include group discussion. We need to include collaborative learning, and we need to adopt peer learning practices so that the average retention rate of the students is higher. As far as learning styles are concerned, we should cater to the visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners by including video clips in our teaching practices, pedagogical practices, using podcasting, using discussion forums, using discussion activities, so that your pedagogical techniques are effective enough to cater to the need of student diversity. That is catering to the needs of slow learners, catering to the needs of fast learners. We need to have self-paced teaching activities. We should adopt cooperative learning. We should have peer learning practices to improve student engagement. where students have loose focus and lack of motivation. We should keep on asking questions to them. We should have group activities. We should make use of clickers and clickers so that the students are engaged more. So broadly, there are different pedagogical approaches: behavioral approach, cognitive approach, constructivist approach, activity-based approach, experiential approach, socially situated learning, and then system learning. Can you close the door, Harsha? System learning. Okay. So the conventional pedagogical techniques, which include lecturing, medium used is chalk and talk, and the student learn through hearing, that is passive learning. We sometimes demonstrate, show some models, charts. Here the students learn through hearing and seeing. This is also passive. Sometimes we make use of presentations, make use of LCD media, multimedia. Here also students learn through seeing and hearing. This is also passive learning. We make use of pedagogy used is animations. Medium is LCD, multimedia, see and hear. This is also passive. Making use of videos, LCD is the medium used, or multimedia. Here also students see and hear. So all these conventional pedagogies are passive learning pedagogies. So let us see the modern pedagogical techniques. Active learning based, as we have listed, we had enlisted earlier. Let us start with active learning based pedagogical techniques. We'll be seeing, I will be going through some of these active learning based pedagogical techniques, wherein we'll be having, we'll be studying collaborative learning, we'll be studying cooperative learning, we'll be studying group discussion based activities, case studies, role plays, inquiry based learnings, project based learning, and problem based learning. So these are called as active learning based pedagogical techniques. So this is also called as pedagogical content knowledge based techniques. Now what we do here, we already have the content knowledge. We make use of our pedagogical knowledge, and the result is pedagogical content knowledge based techniques. So these active learning based pedagogies are pedagogical content knowledge based techniques. Let us go through these active learning based pedagogical techniques through one by one. Collaborative learning. It is an educational approach to teaching and learning that involves groups of students working together to solve a problem, complete a task, or create a product, so to say. So what are the collaborative learning practices? The collaborative learning practices are, some are identified. This stump your partner, simple, because we already lost much time, we'll quickly browse through. Stump your partner is asking question to the partner who is sitting next to him. Two benches, okay, two sitting benches are there. Stump your partner or surprise your partner by asking a question. This is also help in collaborative learning. Write, pair, share, wherein the teacher poses a question to the student, then the student is allowed to think, and then he can share his answer. Now what I used to do, instead of just theoretically talking about these things, what I'll just share my own experience when I used to teach fluid mechanics. While talking about properties of fluids, what I used to do, instead of talking to them about viscosity, talking to them about density, I used to provide day-to-day examples like maybe the fluids like butter, the fluids like nail paint, the fluids like oil paint, how they behave. I used to give them examples like what could be the reason when I painting a surface by using oil paint. The oil paint, initially when you dip the brush into the box, into the can, and then start painting the surface, what happens is your brush moves smoothly initially. And thereafter, over a period of time, the brush becomes harder, or it becomes difficult for you to move your brush. So what happens to the viscosity? I used to pose a question like, why it becomes harder? So students used to come out with the answers. The paint may be drying up. Some students used to think, and its viscosity must be varying, sir. Its viscosity over a period of time must be varying. Viscosity initially was this much. Then I used to convey the concept to the students. So like that, think, pair, share, and write, pair, share type of collaborative learning practices can be used. In catch-up type of collaborative learning, teacher stops, takes a few minutes break, and the teacher allows some time to the student, discuss amongst yourself. He poses certain questions and try to sort out the questions among yourself. So this is one type of collaborative learning practice. The round table is also one more collaborative learning platform. Here, like the name suggests, you're sitting in a round table fashion, and then the brainstorming of an idea or a product or a case study is done. Then the idea is floated, the problems, the participants are allowed to identify the challenges, problems, or the features of the product, or a difficult industrial case study is discussed. So in round table type of collaborative learning, there are groups being made, they solve a problem and come out with a solution. So one more collaborative learning practice is fishbowl debate. As the name indicates, the arrangement is something like this. You have a bowl in between, and then like a table in between, and two teachers or two students are studying, are sitting face to face, and the third student is the moderator. Through debate, the students learn. The names are different, but the logic is same. The students learn collaboratively. So interactively they learn. So these are the few collaborative learning, active learning based pedagogies. Moving further, we have cooperative learning pedagogies, wherein it is a successful teaching strategy in which small teams each with students of different levels of ability use a variety of learning activities to improve their understanding of a subject. So in that we have Jigsaw, we have STAD, we have group investigation, we have think, pair, share, think, pair, solo, we have a round robin type of cooperative learning activities. In Jigsaw, few of these things we can see briefly. There is a group of 5 students is made. Each student is given a subtopic. He teaches to the remaining members, and so each member learns cooperatively. So like that, we have a Jigsaw type of cooperative learning. Then we have STAD, where students team achievement division. This is student team achievements division type of cooperative learning practice. Now here, groups of 4 students is made. Topics are given to each students, and then they are allowed to think, ponder over the topic till they have mastery over the topic. And then finally, a quiz is arranged wherein you have deeper learning objectives being made. And then the reward system is also provided so that deep learning is possible through cooperative learning practices. Then you have group investigation. This is inquiry-based learning. There are groups of 4 students or 5 students are made within a class, and then the topics and subtopics are given to the students. Then they are asked to present those topics in the entire class. Okay, so this is group investigation type of cooperative learning. Then you have think, pair, share, and team, pair, solo. Now think, pair, share, as we discussed earlier, teacher poses a question, students jot down their thoughts, they pair with the partner, and then exchange thoughts. They come out with a solution cooperatively. They share their ideas to the whole class. This is team, pair, share. Then you have round robin, as discussed earlier. Group gathers near the table, brainstorming is done. put their points, the students, participants put their points turn by turn. The collected points are shared to the whole class. Then we have team, pair, solo. Questions given to the team, pairs are made. They discuss, one member, that is solo, presents solution to the whole class. So this way, in collaborative learning, weak learners get advantage of getting knowledge from strong learners. This is the biggest advantage of cooperative learning. Otherwise, what happens is, so essentially you should pair this weak student and strong students together so that cooperatively they can learn. The inquiry based learning, friends, as you know, we have orientation, we have questioning. So conceptualization of the problem, orientation of the problem, conceptualizing, then investigation is done, exploration is done, data interpretation is done. So they discuss among themselves and then they come out with a solution collectively. After coming out with the solution collectively, they present the solution to the class. So this is also active learning based pedagogical techniques. Now this is very common in professional educational institutes, particularly in engineering institutes. Project based learning, it is learn by doing curriculum that integrates core subjects with real life problems to be solved. Students work in teams to create a final product that demonstrates mastery of content standards and a demonstration of key skills such as critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So this is very popular and effective active learning based pedagogical techniques. Let me share my own experience while teaching my stress analysis concepts. Whatever topics I used to have, a strain gauge based load cell, if it is a topic, I used to give them an exercise. I used to ask them to build the strain gauge type load cell after understanding the basic concepts, and because of that they used to they started thinking critically, they started learning how to work collaboratively, and that gave us very good fruitful results. So project based learning is very good active learning based pedagogical techniques every teacher can adopt. Similarly, problem based learning is also very popular. Here you have group formation, then facilitator allocation, then problem presentation, then identification of relevant learning factors. These relevant learning factors are identified, then the peer teaching is done, and then discussions are carried out. The self-study, resource sharing, they propose a solution. So instead of a gadget, a problem is discussed collectively, and then they propose this, that group proposes a solution, they present a solution, and then evaluation of that solution is done. So this is also active learning based effective active learning based pedagogical technique, which is called as problem based learning. Let us move to the next category, that is technological content knowledge based pedagogical technique quickly. Here it's a collaboration of technological knowledge. What I mean by technological knowledge is ICT based knowledge. Whatever tools we use, that ICT based knowledge is coupled with content knowledge, and the new techniques that we get are ICT based pedagogical techniques. So these are interactive smart boards, then presentations on LCD, then Google Slides, Google Sheets, and Google Forms, making use of Wikipedia, search engines, making use of podcasting. So all ICT tools are used along with your pedagogical skills and your content knowledge. So blogging and YouTube. So let us go. So ICT-based pedagogical techniques are creating animations, creating videos, using content management systems, using learning management systems. So these are technological content knowledge-based pedagogical techniques. So let us briefly see each one, each technique. A podcast is an episodic or a series of episodes, audio episodes. Podcast is an episodic series of digital audio files that a user can download in order to listen. So I can float my own podcast about my lecture. Students can use it at their leisure time. Podcasting is a free service that allows internet users to pull audio files, typically MP3s, from podcasting websites. So this is podcasting, ICT based pedagogy. Then blogs began as personal mini sites that people used to record their opinions, stories, and other writings, as well as photos and videos. Now blogging is used in teaching learning practices also. Whatever new developments, whatever new technical skills I have developed, or new gadget I have developed, new equipment I have developed, I can share it through my blog. So blogging can be used as a pedagogical technique. Creating your own animations by making use of some of the tools I have enumerated here: Powtoon, Creatoon, Adobe Flash, Smart Body are some of the animation creating helpouts. Then you can create your own videos by using Screencast-O-Matic, Camtasia, Cam Studio, Blender, Video Scribe. Then video editing tools are also available: Video Movie Maker, Blender, Filmora, VSDC. We can make use of these tools and create your own animations and videos. Then coming to technology, pedagogy, knowledge-based pedagogical techniques. So here there is amalgamation of technological knowledge and pedagogical knowledge. Yes, the same thing, ICT-based pedagogical techniques. Here, I make use of student response systems. I make use of gamification. I make use of discussion forums. I make use of wiki boards. So what I mean by gamification is making use of games. In maybe I'm conducting a test, maybe the mobiles are there with them, and I use the game so that the students can answer the question through mobiles. So like that, I can have student response systems. Then you have technological, pedagogical content, knowledge-based pedagogical techniques. So remember, we are learning, trying to learn few of the modern pedagogical techniques. These are called as TPACK-based pedagogical techniques. These are the most preferred pedagogical techniques. Okay, so what is this? It's a combination of ICT-based knowledge, combination of pedagogical knowledge, and combination of content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technical knowledge. So the intersection of all these three is technological, pedagogical, content knowledge-based techniques. So what are these techniques? Making use of learning management systems, making use of blended pedagogical techniques, making use of MOOCs. We all know the MOOCs. Few of the blended pedagogical techniques, blended learning techniques also we are going to see hereafter: station rotation, blended learning, lab rotation, blended learning, flipped classroom concept, and virtual classroom. We'll see them later on. Then making use of learning management system. We already use this. Moodle, we are already using. Dissemination of lectures through videos. We can track student progress. We can create tests, and we can create discussion forums. We can manage the records. Now this Moodle is been widely used. Even IITs and NITs have come forward. Even many institutes are using Moodle as a LMS platform. Let us go to blended learning. Briefly, we'll see each of these techniques. Probably you have tomorrow's session entirely dedicated for blended learning. So it is an approach to education that combines online educational materials and opportunities for interaction online with traditional place-based classroom methods. So this blended learning uses online plus face-to-face. It's a combination, blending of online teaching and face-to-face teaching. This is the most popular pedagogy nowadays being used. There are four different types of blended learning: station rotation blended learning, lab rotation blended learning, flipped classroom, and virtual classroom. So it's a marriage between face-to-face learning and online learning. It's a blended learning. So station rotation model. So what is done? Different groups are made, and these groups are given some groups are shown the lecture videos, some groups are having discussions, and some group, the same group is having different session. Okay, the station is rotated. This group will go for online lecture at from 9 to 9:30. It will go for discussion forum between 9:30 to 10, and that group will go in for face-to-face teaching from 10 to 10:30. So like station rotation model works, and second group will have alternate assignments like that. So this is station rotation based blended learning practice. Now lab rotation blended learning practice. So you have four options. You have learning lab, you have direct instruction in the classroom, you have direct instruction here. So you have different labs being provided, and then you have online learning facility here. So the lab rotation model works like that. Only advantage is that here the teachers are required in direct instruction, as you can see, brown colored, and here in the online practice you have para-professional lab assistant, so to say, can handle these online sessions. So this is lab rotation model of blended learning. Then flipped classroom model. This is also very important and very useful blended learning platform. Let us see let us compare the classical lecture setting and flipped classroom. Now earlier, before the class, students read over the material or reads the material before the class, and then students listen to the lecture. We are talking about classical lecture setting, friends. Listens to the lecture, and then after the class, the students attempt the homework at home. This is the classical setup. And what happens in flipped classroom, friends? Before the class, the students complete the interactive learning module. So the lectures are already available on the net. The teachers prepare the lectures and post it on the net. The students, so before the class only, the students attend your online lectures. So during the class, what they do, they practice applying those concepts. So they discuss, they seek the help as and when required in the classroom from the teachers. So during the class, what used to happen? One way teacher-centric learning was happening. Here, there is multi-way interactive learning is happening in flipped classroom. And after the class, what happens? The students check understanding and extend learning to more complex tasks. So the application part. So after the class, whatever they have digested, whatever they have understood, they start implementing those concepts. So this is a flipped classroom model of blended learning. There is one more flex model. It's called as flexible model as well. So we have smaller groups distributed in different class. You have breakout rooms, different breakout rooms where teachers can discuss with the students. Then we have 4 stations where there is a collaborative learning that can happen with the use of para-professional online classes can be conducted, right? Then you have a science lab wherein the teachers can engage. Then there you have collaboration rooms available. You have discussion areas available. So these flexible models, we can have small groups doing online teaching. Some groups are doing online teaching. Some students are doing face-to-face teaching. Some students are doing laboratory practice. Some students are doing hands-on works. Some students are doing collaborative learnings. So this way, flexible blended learning model works. Now this virtual classroom model, now this is what is presently happening during this lockdown period. We are having virtual classrooms that are going up. This is also one sort of blended learning. So you have online instruction and content which is obtained by the students from home, and they can come home where they can have face-to-face supplementation in the school. So this is virtual classroom blended learning model. So these blended learning models are very popular nowadays, which are being used. Now, the technological pedagogy based learning practices. Here we focus on student response system. The student response system allows the instructors to pose questions and gather student responses during the lecture. Here we make use of Mentimeter, we make use of clickers, we make use of flickers, we make use of vote pads. So all these online tools are available. You can have interactive mobile apps as well. So game-based apps are available. You can pose a question and through mobile, the students can respond. Now, what is the biggest benefit of this student response-based pedagogies is that the student engagement improves. The students find the lecture more interesting because it is a participative type of exercise. So we should use student response systems like Mentimeters in the class so that your lecture becomes interactive and interesting. There are many gamification softwares are also available. Some flashcard softwares are like Cram. You have a number of softwares available. You have gamification. Kahoot is one such gamification software. Only thing is that teacher has to spend time and to convert your conceptual part into a games part. And that gamification software can be used to make your session more interactive. So gamification software is any tool or platform used for applying game mechanics to non-game contexts in order to boost engagement and getting successful end results. So then making use of online forums, discussion forums. We frequently use discussion forums, helping students to review material prior to an assignment or exam, engaging students in discussion of course material before coming to class, and reflecting on material that they have read. Then finally, students, friends, we shall see some of the implementation issues of modern pedagogical techniques. There are 3 stages of implementation: learning various pedagogical techniques, implementing various active learning strategies in the classroom to achieve the learning outcomes. Now, why before implementing, let us remember that what kind of setup that we have. For science colleges or science teaching learning practices, your pedagogies could be different. For arts faculty, the pedagogies could be different. For engineering faculty, the pedagogies could be different. For business administration, MBA, the pedagogies could be different. For pharmacy, the pedagogies could be different. So we have to first of all learn various pedagogical techniques, and then looking at your own environment, you should implement those active learning strategies. And you should not stop there. You should start evaluating whether the learning outcomes are achieved, that is, students are able to do what they need to do. I would like to share few of the modern pedagogical techniques I myself myself and my faculty colleagues have implemented at our own institute, that is A.G. Patil Institute of Technology, Sholapur. So we have made use of Mentimeter type of student response system. This improved the student participation and student attention and student engagement at our institute. We made use of group activities. You can see they were given the task, they were given the topic, so think, share, pair, the think, share, solo type of activities they were given while teaching maybe power plant engineering. They were told about the thermal power plant, and some groups were told about the nuclear power plant. They discussed, they found out the material, and then finally they presented that material amongst the group so that the slow learners and fast learners, the slow learners get benefit of such group activities. And finally, we had asked them to present the topic for the entire class. So making use of Plickers, instead of this is very simple. Plickers, instead of using if you have a multiple choice question, you have option A, option B, option C, and option D. Instead of A, B, C, D, you get these symbols. You can get the Plickers, you can download the Plickers, you can create Plickers. So each symbol corresponds to option A, option B, option C, option D. So what I can do is, instead of counting the answers, I can make use of my scanner, mobile scanner, and I can just work out, just to make it interactive, and the student participation is more. Instead of asking the answers verbally, I ask the answers through Plickers. So these are few of the implementations I've done in my class. Let us, we're coming to the close of our, closing of the session. Before we close, friends, being teacher, I would like to discuss something about effective teaching. We should plan our lecture, friends. We should give time for explanation of concept. Before going into the class, we need to devote at least 1 to 2 hours on how I'm going to deliver my lecture. While preparing for my lecture, I should bring in front of my eyes the distribution, diversity of my class. How many strong learners are there? How many weak learners are there? How many audio learners are there? How many visual learners are there? How many kinesthetic learners are there? That picture should be there in front of my mind, very clear. So accordingly, each lecture I should plan how I'm going to present this complicated concept to weak students, what kind of examples I would be giving. So time should be given for concept explanation. Time should be given for active learning strategies. So we should plan the lecture, and then those active learning strategies I should implement during the lecture. And then finally, evaluation of learning through quizzes, activity, games, and assignments. So let us come together, friends, to make this transformation of teaching learning process a revolution. Let's take this revolution further to enlighten our fraternity and shape the future of coming generations. So let us contribute as a teaching fraternity. So thanks and happy learning. Wish you all the best, friends. Hello.
Good afternoon, one and all. I am pretty much sure that you are all enjoyed this session. The session was very informative and interesting as well. On behalf of A.J. Patil Polytechnic Institute, Solapur, I would like to thank Dr. Vishwajit Poddar sir for conducting such a beautiful session on modern pedagogical techniques. Definitely, your session will be useful for us to be effective in online mode of teaching in this COVID pandemic. Once again, thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time for this session. I also extend my gratitude towards all the participants for your active participation and making this session more interactive. Once again, thank you very much to all. The feedback link will be shared through your registered mail ID and through our Telegram channel within an hour. So that's all for day 5. Thank you very much. Have a good day to all.